Ravens, how are we all? I hope we're all doing well. Apologies for there being no video last week. Life, work, it's all kind of gotten in the way. I might go through it at some point, do maybe a get ready with me and just give you an update. But yeah, work is just very, very busy and I was too tired to film for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to be doing a few films today, so apologies if you see this look, and addressing the elephant in the room. Yes, the hair has gone back to black. This is not a fallout from my video last time. Honestly, it's got nothing to do with the hair products video I did. I literally woke up this morning with a I'm done with the colour. I want to go back swimming again, which anyone who uses fashion colours knows swimming doesn't help. The upkeep, the regrowth. I'm going to be spending a lot more time on customer sites over the next couple of months, and I wasn't feeling it. Plus I want to be able to wear other coloured jewellery, other coloured makeup, so gone for like a, don't even know you can tell, a bit of an orangey look today, hence my orange lights and my orange jewellery. And yeah, it's just going to make life a little bit easier, not having to worry about anything other than my roots. And yeah, there are plans for the future with the hair, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. It's getting cut again in another few weeks, don't know what I'm doing with that either. It's just all a bit like that at the moment. So, where are we going today? Today's video, I was going to do a series, but I'm going to leave it for April. I've tried to do the series today. This is the second attempt at even filming this video. So this video is probably not going to be very long, mainly because I've probably already covered the subject a few times. But we recently had a new young lad start work with me as an apprentice. Well, not with me, but with our company as an apprentice. And we had to go into London the other day. We took my van and a load of kit to a client site, and we got talking tattoos. And bless him, he's only like 18. Bless. Virgin skin. Yeah, we don't talk about that. And he was basically just asking me about tattooing, advice. Could see that I had a lot of... God, have I missed a bit in my hair? Have I missed a bit? How can I put that much black in my hair and still miss a bit? Oh well. Yeah, we got talking about tattoos, so I thought I would do a quick video on my advice for tattoo beginners. Now, I know probably a lot of you out there already have tattoos, but I thought, you know, my demographic of video watchers is kind of either not been allowed to and now suddenly having them at an older age, or they've got children who are probably growing up into tattoos. Now, I am in some respects what they would term a tattoo veteran, in that I've now been getting tattooed for over 20 years. I have been through several different artists, different types of tattooing techniques, different options of aftercare, and I think I've built up quite a good encyclopedia of knowledge, let's call it that, around tattooing. So I wanted to share some of that today and maybe help somebody who's up and coming in the tattoo world, who maybe hasn't had one yet, with just a few things to think about. So, number one, why? Why do you want a tattoo? Think about it before you just run out there and get one. Tattooing is and tattoo art and the tattoo lifestyle is not always an easy one. It is still, in some respects, certainly in certain ages and areas, even though it shouldn't be, can still be a little bit awkward to have tattoos. But it is a lot more widely accepted now than it was kind of when I started my journey. But why do you want your tattoo? Do you want it to look cool? Do you want it because your mate's got one? Do you want it because summer's coming up and you want to be able to take your shirt off and look cool with your mates? Do you want it because you've seen something you quite like the look of? Or have you been looking at tattooing for a while and gone, do you know what, one day I will have one, and you've been waiting years and years to be old enough to get your first tattoo? So think about why you want it. If you want it just because your mate's got one, have a sit and think, do I really want one? Is this what I want to put my body through? You have got a lot to think about when you get a tattoo, and I'm going to go through each piece with you. But the first thing really is have a think about why you want it. And if to you that reason is valid, then you go for it. But if you sit back for a couple of days and think, do you know what, just because my mate's got one and they're telling me to get one, I'm not actually that bothered, then maybe this isn't the right time for you to get one. Maybe you might decide to wait a year, and by that point maybe you don't want tattoos. Maybe you don't want to look like everybody else, because tattooing has become very popular. However, in 6 months' time, you're sitting there going, and every morning all you think out is that bare bit of skin and going, I want to put some ink there. Then you've got your answer. So I would say when you're thinking about why you want a tattoo, don't just jump in there and get something because someone else said it's a good idea. Make sure it's what you want. This is a permanent change to your body. Yes, you can have laser removal, but that is expensive and it is very painful. Despite what anyone tells you, it's more painful than getting it tattooed in the first place. And you know, this is something that could affect your private life, your work life, your children's lives in the future. So, you know, if you really, really want that style and that way of life, then go for it. But really have a good think about why you want it. And if you're just doing it to bow down to peer pressure, and actually you don't want a tattoo, you want to be a little bit different, you want to say, actually no, I'll keep my body clean and keep it untouched by a tattoo needle to be different, then make sure you stand up for that. Make sure you are being authentic to what you want. What else? What do you want your tattoo to be? You may be 18 and you want your girlfriend's name. Are you going to be with her in 5 years? Because that tattoo is going to last longer than 5 years. Are you a Disney fan? Do you love Disney at the moment? Are you going to love Disney in 10 years' time? Or will you have changed your mind? All these things to consider. Will your tattoo, and don't take this in the wrong way, but will it age with you? Will it still represent you in 15, 20, 30, 40 years' time, depending on when you're getting inked? Will that still be you? Obviously, we can't tell the future, but think about the type of design you want, and will it grow with you, or will it always remind you of a younger time, and then 10, 15 years down the line you're looking at a cover-up? So have a good think about the type of design you want. Have a think about the style that you want. Do you want kind of the old school classic American style? Do you want the neo-traditional? Do you want the fine line? You know, all these different things about how you want it done and what you want done, you need to have a think about. And then once you've decided what type of tattoo you want, you need to pick your artist. I would recommend shopping around. There are so many resources available to you now. You have Instagram, TikTok, the internet in general, YouTube, friends, older generations that you can go and ask, people you can see, people. I've had strangers come up in pubs and even whilst I'm out shopping and ask who's done certain parts of my artwork because they've seen it and they love it, or they love the style of it and they're looking for something similar, or they're looking for something like my bats that doesn't have line work, it's all just shading. So look for your type of artist. Have a look at tattoo books. Megan Massacre's brought out a book. The guy that does all the tribal work, I can't remember his name, but he's brought out a book. There are hundreds and hundreds of tattoo magazines and books and references out there that you can go and look at and go, what style do I prefer? Do I want colour? Do I want black and white? Do I want just line work? Do I want shading? Do I want it realistic? Do I want it photorealism? Do I want, you know, just a picture, a caricature? What do I want? And then go and look up those styles. Go onto Instagram and look at, if you want realism, go and look at people like Eyeshine Ink. Go and look at even the hashtag realistic tattoos. There's another one out there who I will link below who is amazing. You know, if that's the sort of realism you're looking for, then look towards those type of artists. Then you need to think about how much you're willing to spend. Good ink that lasts is expensive, but don't just go out there and get any cheap old tattoo, because in the end it will cost you more. If you go and get any old tattoo by any old artist, you will potentially at some point regret it. You will probably want to cover it up. You probably won't have thought about what you want your tattoo journey to be, whether you're just having the one or whether, like me, you end up with a lot more. Do you want a sleeve? Do you want just a one-off design? Is it a memorial tattoo? You know, all these different things will influence who you get tattooed by, and that will influence the cost. You also have to think about the size of the tattoo, whether it's going to be a one sitting of a few hours, whether it's going to be a day, a couple of days, maybe 3 or 4 sessions. So when you're thinking about your tattoo and what you want, and you're looking at your artist, find out about cost. They are not cheap. They are a individual, how can I explain it? You wouldn't go to the Tate Modern or the Louvre in Paris and, you know, expect to buy a piece of artwork and it be replicated hundreds and hundreds of times the same. It would be a one-off piece, and you are paying for a tattoo that is a one-off piece in most cases. If you are buying off a flash sheet, then yes, it's potential that there's 2 or 3 other people, maybe more, that have the same tattoo. But you probably want your tattoos to be more personal to you. You've got to think about that person is an artist more than they are a tattooist. They have to design the tattoo. They have to make sure it's going to work with your body. They're going to have to make sure that they've got the time to do it. To give, you know, what's the word? My words are failing me today. As per usual, they're gone. Disappeared out the window. They want to give you their best. So they're not going to chuck out just any old ink. They're going to want to give you the best of their artwork. So make sure you can afford it. It takes a while. I am very glad that I thought about every piece that I have. I have had 1 or 2 kind of instant decision ones. Take, for example, my candle here. That was at a convention, but it was a one-off piece for a convention. My moth was a one-off piece for a convention. Nobody else has it. That's kind of the way it works. But when you're coming into the bigger pieces, you know, the artwork on this arm alone of what it's taken over the years is 4 figures and then some. My whole artwork is probably over 5 figures by now. We are not talking a cheap hobby. So yeah, make sure you can afford it, and make sure that what you're putting on your body will be with you. I think it's with you for life. And then if you don't want it, well, you're going to have to pay to get it covered up, because even a small tattoo may need a big cover up, which is more money. And laser removal is also more money. In fact, I think laser removal is probably more expensive than tattooing in some respects, because you have to have multiple sessions and each session is a set price, and you don't know what result you're going to get. So can you afford it? Where do you want your tattoo? I have sat on many a tattoo bench, and I've had and seen and watched many a tattooist go, no, I'm not doing that. One who, I'm not going to name who it was, but I was sat getting a tattoo done, and the receptionist came up and asked the tattooist that was working on me if they would do, I can't remember what it was, but it was but whoever wanted it on the side of their neck. And it was one of those things of, the first question, is it their first tattoo? And when the receptionist said yes, my tattooist went, no, not doing it. That is something they will regret. That is something I'm not prepared to do as a first tattoo. I don't tattoo faces, necks, hands, anything that's visible or not easily covered on anybody for their first tattoo, unless they are quite heavily tattooed already. No, it's not going to work. So when you go to a tattooist, you're normally requested to sign a consent form, because this is a permanent change to your body, and they will ask you where you want it. Now, most of mine when I first start, in fact all of mine, are coverable, whether by hair or clothing, and I don't have anything that's, you know, chest, face, hands yet, that's not easy to cover. So when you're thinking about your tattoo, think about where you work maybe, or the activities that you're involved in. Will it be okay with that? Obviously if you're somebody who doesn't care, then fine, but if you maybe work in an area where you work in schools or things like that, do you need to be careful? So think about where you're going to have your tattoo. I would suggest you don't start with places like ribs, anywhere around the pelvic bone, wrists, collarbones, anything that is close to bone. Arms, tops of arms, thighs, backs of legs are all quite nice. I say nice, no, it's nice to get tattooed, but they are easier places to get tattooed, and then you can work up or work down. If you need to be able to cover it, then obviously arms are easy to cover, legs are easy to cover. So think about your placement against your pain threshold as well. If you've never been tattooed, no one can really tell you what it feels like. They can only tell you what their experience is. I used to describe it as somebody getting a safety pin and dragging it across the skin over and over and over and over again. That may not be something you're up for. You know, you may be wanting a big back piece done, but you don't have the pain threshold for it. So think about placement. Think about the plans you may have in the future for other tattoos, and whether what you're working on now as an idea will actually work. There's a few of mine I wish I'd been placed slightly differently. I've had to have with this one of mine covered up because I couldn't really do anything else with this arm that I really, really, truly wanted. So think about your placement. Then think about your design. Is your design truly what you want, or is it what someone else has suggested? This, for me, has always been... it's been difficult, because technically you could say my tattooist designed and suggested this one for me. But it was something similar to an idea I'd been having anyway, and then the suggestion came up and it was like, yes, that works. You know, so think about the types of designs that you want, the types of work you may want to get in the future. I had this whole thing when I was younger that my legs were going to be Japanese only. They're now not. I now have 2 portraits, which I said I would never get, but my tastes have changed. So when you're thinking about those designs, think about what else will go with it. Now, if you want lots and lots of eclectic little tattoos, absolutely fine. But if you want to work on larger pieces and sleeves, then have a good idea of what you want before you go and approach an artist. Make sure you know your body. Now, this sounds really crazy, but how does your body heal? Do you scar easily? Do you, if you scrape your knee, does it get inflamed? Are you prone to infection? Have you been pierced before and had issues? Make sure you talk to somebody about your skin, your body type, and yes, body type can have an effect. For example, I'm a larger person, and obviously she's off on one again. You can tell it's been a long weekend already. For me to get tattooed in certain places, for example, my sternum didn't really hurt. However, most people find the sternum really uncomfortable. It didn't hurt me because I have a flabby belly, and for me it was no different than getting tattooed on my arms. For some people, getting tattooed there, it would be straight onto bone. It would really hurt. So know your body, know what you're thinking of, and talk to your tattooist before you book your appointment. Different types of skin will work differently with different pigments. Darker skins will work with some colours and not with others. Lighter skin will not work with certain colours. My skin doesn't work particularly well with whites, for example. It doesn't work particularly well with pale yellow, and it doesn't work very well with a very, very pastel blue. But you know, get to know your body, get to know your skin, what moisturisers work on you, because that is something you're going to have to keep up for a lifetime. You need to, looking after tattoos is not just while they're healing, it is something that you need to think about for life. Now, I am terrible at using moisturiser on my face, but when it comes to my tattoos, I do give them a good moisturise, or a good once a fortnight, which probably still pretty bad. But you know, moisturisers and keeping your skin in good condition is something you need to think about. You need to think about when you have your tattoo. Having your tattoo done just before you go on holiday is a really bad idea. All tattoo work until it's healed, and in general, if you can, should be kept out of the sun. Tattoo work fades. If you have somebody who likes to tan and you have a lot of fine work detail, your tan is going to end up covering up some of the lines because they're just not going to show very well. So think about when you have your tattoo, and if you do want it to be on show when you're in that bikini or in your bathing shorts or whatever it is, make sure that it is fully healed, that you can cover it in sun cream, and that you can keep it covered when you need to. Do not have it out all day every day. It will affect the ink. So if you can do all these things, and if you know what you want and you found your artist and you saved up all your money, are you still going to go ahead with it? Make sure you talk to people about it. Don't have it in your head that yes, I'm going to do this, yes, I'm going to do this, and then the day after you've had the tattoo, sit down with a close family member and they've gone, yeah, but why'd you do it? And not have the answer. You know, talk to family members, even if they're against them, find out why. If they are for them, find out why, because they may not have any, but they still might be for them. So make sure you talk to people. Make sure that you have told a friend, especially in the days at the moment where we're not allowed to take somebody with us to an appointment. Make sure somebody knows you're going, because if something happens, the tattooist needs to be able to call a next of kin or somebody who can come and look after you. I have seen people take ill during tattoos because they've had an issue with the ink. I've seen people pass out. I've seen people, you know, just vomit just because they can't cope with the pain. I have seen a lot of different things over the years with people who have gone for appointments with this, yeah, it'll be fine, and then they've had a reaction of some sort. So make sure somebody knows you're going. Make sure you eat. Your body is about to be put through pain and in some respects almost going to shock. If you're getting a lot of work done, have a decent meal. At least, you know, half an hour before you go. Make sure you sat down and had something decent to eat. That will keep your blood levels up, your blood sugars up. It will keep you energised. It will make your body cope with the pain a lot better. It will also help with the healing process, because a starving body does not like to heal. Make sure you're hydrated, but not with caffeine. Caffeine can make you bleed, and it can also make you dehydrate, which means that the skin is not so helpful. What's the word I'm looking for? Supple. That's the one. It can be less supple when the tattooist is trying to hold it, which can become painful. Make sure you have sugar. Keep boiled sweets or something with you that will keep your blood sugar up during your appointment, especially if you are staying there for quite a few hours. Make sure that you are, you know, keeping your body energised. Use numbing cream as your tattooist tells you to. Each tattooist will have their different thoughts, different types, different creams, methods, but use it, not what it says on the internet, how your tattooist tells you. If you wish to use numbing cream, there is no harm in doing that, but don't just slather it on. Make sure you've read the instructions, you know what you're using, you do it as you are instructed. Do not moisturise your skin before you go. It can make tattoo needles slip, and it can also, with the cream on your skin, can affect the ink. There is so much, but don't let it put you off from getting inked. I am in love with every single one of my tattoos, even the ones I've had to modify over the years. I love them. The Griffin didn't start his journey till he was 54. He now has 2 sleeves. We all start our journeys at different times, but if you are going for your first tattoo, please have a long think about it. Make sure it's what you want, by the artist you want, that you're not going into debt for it, and that you are able to look after it for life. That's it really. I'm not going to tell you what creams to use. Your tattooist will advise you how to care for it. Each tattooist has their own tried and tested methods. I have my own tried and tested methods, but what I will say is listen to your artist, especially on your first tattoo. You can take as much advice or whatever from friends, but always listen to your artist. They know their inks, they have been doing this a while, and most of them have an awful lot of experience. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there today. I hope that was kind of helpful. Sorry if it was a bit of a waffle. Sorry if I've gone off on a tangent. Sorry, you know, it's me. I'm going to apologise anyway. But I am going to leave it there. I am going to say have a good weekend. And as always, just do you.